I've had a box of Chaos Warhounds sitting in a box for almost 10 years since I stopped playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles 7th edition. You remember back in the day, undercoat everything in black, which made it impossible to really see any hope in it, and I always found much tougher to paint. And they were sitting on their little rectangular bases with nothing in life to do. And then I spotted you could have Hellhounds as part of the Plague faction in Mantic Games' Deadzone, which is basically their equivalent of Kill Team, which predates Kill Team and is a really cool miniatures agnostic, effectively sci-fi skirmish game. Who doesn't want some really cheap, really fast speed 2 to 3 Hellhounds, which can't shoot fine, have pretty bog standard fighting ability, pretty bog standard saves, but are cheap and can reroll a dice when it comes to close combat. I'd play it, but there's only so many copyright infringements I want from YouTube. And I thought they'd make a funky addition to the rest of my Plague crew, and go back and have a look at the video where I show how I kitbashed them, or found relevant miniatures from across my collection, and then actually painted all of them. Because although Mantic does a perfectly lovely range of Plague miniatures, I'm on this kind of campaign you may have seen from my recent videos to try and just make the most of the collections I've got, the miniatures I've got, through new, cool, interesting rule systems. And although there is that doggy over there, I mean, he is a bit runt-like. So I might as well use the Hellhounds I've got. And so what can I share about these Hellhounds, formerly Chaos Hounds? So I considered using contrast paint, which might have been better. But the thing is, I had half a can of Vermin Brown just sitting there waiting to go hard and get messed up. And so I thought, look, I'll just spray them with that and keep it all simple. As you can see, I did rip off the ears of most of them because people used to joke about them, calling them the reindeer back in Warhammer 7th edition. And then I put in green stuff, and on some of them, what I did looks plausible, and you can barely see it. And I used a craft knife to kind of just press in where I think the hairlines would fall to correlate with the existing hairlines, and just put in a small bit of green stuff. But on one or two of them I slightly messed up and used a sculpting tool and put too big a lump of green stuff. But the thing is, look, these are gaming pieces. Clearly, these look awful. But the thing is, we can just say that these are just a part of a weird biological experiment, and that's what's happened to their ears. I mean, these were never great models. If you can see, there's just a line straight down the middle, and there's nothing you could do in terms of assembly to stop that. On that one, I did a bit of green stuff. But then I thought, look, I can't be bothered to do that to every single one of these. But the thing is, as a group on the table, it's sufficient, I think, that no one will really want to see 7 of these guys running them down. And in cinematic terms, that's the leader, and he'll just direct them, go play, have fun, my pretties, as they all run forward. And these are some other models you'll see from another video. That's part of the Plague crew faction that I've got. And so that's how these dogs are quite big dogs. And then what did I do? I did a bit of Xandri dust into the Vermin Brown paint bottle that I had, correlating with the spray paint. And I did the ribs, which were quite fun. But I just dry brushed the fur, and I didn't do anything exciting elsewhere. I just treated each of these spikes as just a bit of bone. And I did the feet, the nails, whatever, the claws, black, with adding a bit of blue in for the highlight, pink for the tongues, bit of purple round the bits of gum that you could see, bit of blood for the blood god, into the random sores of the dogs, and then there's a bit of a spot colour, yellow, and then yellow mixing with a bit of white as a highlight for each of the eyes. So I think we'll leave it there for today, but perhaps a thought: these could end up being some of my most played with miniatures as the years go on. Think about it, for so many of us, terrain is probably, the miniature that you end up playing with the most. But these guys are so versatile. Not only can they be plague dogs in this Deadzone world, but in all manner of fantasy skirmish games, there's always the kind of half dozen wild animal, wolfy, doggy type unit that you can use. And then they're often NPCs in kind of more cooperative skirmish games. Silver Bayonet comes to mind. I'm sure there's one scenario where there are wolves meandering about, and in Dracula's America, certainly that kind of thing as well. So you'll have to subscribe and see all the manifold uses these guys get put to. Thought for the day there. And have a good day or evening. See you soon.